Hi guys, and welcome to AirAbility, your regular dose of lead therapy. And today I'm talking about pellet testing, and this is part 2 of my 2-part series. So just so you don't think I filmed all this part 1 and part 2 on the same day, I've changed my hat to throw you off. You'd have never have guessed, would you? Anyway, so part 2, what were we going to do in this video? Well, if you remember, I tested several pellets in the last video against my normal competition pellet to see how they fared. And there was one pellet looked as though it was quite promising, and it could actually be as good as the pellet I use in competition. So in this video we're going to take it further, and we're going to look at whether sizing and lubing the pellet can make any difference to its accuracy. So again, this is a truncated version of what I would normally do, and I will say I have shot a lot of cards in all the various pellet sizes over today to make sure that the results I got in the truncated video were accurate. So here we go. Here's the video where I shoot the mystery pellet using different pellet sizes. As with part 1, the testing took place on my home range. I have just under 25 metres, half of which is indoors as I shoot through the shed, and the other half is very sheltered down the side of the house. There was a little more wind today, which made it a little harder. The top row is the pellet that showed some promise in part 1, and we're shooting this straight out of the tin just as a marker to see how using the other dies will change how the pellet performs. Now I'm going to put it on the second row. It's going through my 4.51 pellet sizer, and as you can see here, it's roughly comparable to when it's not been ran through a sizer. Now we're going to move on to the 4.52 sizer, and I feel that it's starting to spread now a little and moving away from the optimum performance of the pellet. I think that's going to become really clear when we move on to 4.53, as I've never had a pellet go through my 4.53 pellet sizer that my Anschutz actually likes. It seems to ruin all the pellets. So there we go, just as I thought. Right guys, I hope that was interesting. I must admit, when you're filming yourself and showing yourself shooting live, it's actually more nerve-wracking than you would think. It's even more nerve-wracking than competition, to be honest. So, as you can see here, let's put the target up that I shot at the side here. Now, this was quite interesting. The control pellet, well, I say control pellet, the pellet that was not sized or lubricated or prepared in any way, still did quite well, about the same as it did in part 1. So I was quite happy that the results were panning out roughly the same. Now when I put it through a 4.51 pellet sizer, it looked comparable, if not slightly bigger. But again, as I said, I've done many more cards than this with all these different pellet sizes, and it was actually, on the other cards, it's come out roughly the same as non-sized when it comes to scores. So that's quite good to know. But when you get to 4.52 and 4.53, there is a palpable spread of those pellets. So at that point I knew that 4.52 was making the pellets go off the boil, and 4.53, my Anschutz has never liked anything that's gone through the 4.53 sizer. So there you go. So what happened? Well, I then went on further, and I went back to shoot out of the tin, and I shot several targets, and something happened what I was expecting to happen. Here's the target. Now as you can see on the bottom row, on the middle target, there is a flyer there. I was bang on the ball, there was no wind, I released perfectly, and you could just see the pellet deviate as it hit the target. The same could be actually said about the fourth one. On the second row, it was actually starting to move across as well. So this is what I would expect to see if I was going to have problems with prepped pellets. And this happened on several targets. This target is just a good example of it. Now, when you size, lube and prep your pellets, what you're doing is you're not actually making the pellets any better a lot of the time. What you're doing is taking away those flyers. So remember, yesterday we shot a 250 and 17x with the pellets straight from the tin. And I said the purpose of the second video was, can I improve the performance of the mystery pellet with some pellet preparation, running it through the sizer, etc. Well, here's the card, the best card I shot today with preparation. So what I've done is I used the 4.51 die and I actually lubricated the pellets. And as you can see here, I got a 250 20x. There are no flyers on this card, and there are no flyers on any of the cards that I shot using the 4.51 sizer and lubricating the pellets. So I essentially eliminated the random factor. And that's what pellet preparation is about. It might only get you 1 or 2 points a card, if that. It might even get you 1 or 2 points a tournament. But those 1 or 2 points could win you a medal. And also, a lot of tournaments come down to X counts. And if you can get 2 or 3 extra X's, like I did here, that could win you a tournament as well. If you notice on this card, the X's are nice central X's. I will say 3 of the 5 ones that were just bulls and not X's was my fault. I wasn't particularly settled today, and I wasn't shooting at my best. And this is why we test and test and test again. So I'm happy with this result. The mystery pellet, if I size it using my 4.51 sizer and lubricate the pellets, will perform at 250 20x and possibly above when I've done a bit more practice with them. And this is what we wanted out of the pellet testing. Now, I know you're going to ask me, what is the mystery pellet? The mystery pellet is the pellet that's best for you. After you have done all this testing and you've come to the conclusion you're using the right size of the right lubricant and the right pellet for your gun. If I was to tell you what this pellet was, it wouldn't help you at all, and I know that sounds mean. What this video is about helping you engage in your own search for the best pellet possible for your rifle. So, as ever, good luck on your search, and remember, keep living that airgun dream, and take care, and see you later. Bye bye.